the Ma civilization, which came before all that, the world had known us to be the superior, the most superior of all races. And they described that with the word civilization. They called us the cradle of the civilization, cradle where civilization began, meaning we showed intelligence. Civilization in the real sense means a display of intelligence in terms of practical and even non-practical in some cases, that convinces your opponent you are superior. Your mind works better. In fact, the military is supposed to be an aspect of that, because if you could design a gun that will force the enemy to, for fear of his life, surrender, to say, look, you are better. Although it may be temporary, but for that moment you have prevailed, okay? Because of your mind. You have a gun and he doesn't have a gun. Now, for the black people, their mind is so superior that even when without the gun, they still prevailed. They still prevailed, which is the model of God. God doesn't need a gun. God doesn't need a bomb, but God prevails. So that's the model that the black people had pursued, but it's modeled after God now, which is the ultimate, really. So the victory, what appeared to be a victory over the last 2,500 years for the non-blacks, was one that was based on this gun victory. Gun victory that would, for the moment, make them look like they're prevailing and they are better. They overran our land, the Kemetic land, and threw us out. Those who could not stay to be run by animals moved away. That's how my people moved down, and so on and so forth. And allowed them to have the land, knowing fully well they cannot do much with it because they have no brains. They're not in any competition whatsoever. And they pursued, from the north and the south. And so, because we have been pursued from the north and the south, most of our concentration of our original stuff, at least in ideas and language and all that, were concentrated in between the north and the south, maybe in the middle, which is where, the Gala Kingdom is, and other kingdoms in Ghana, and, all the way to the west and all the way to the east, east, and so on. So the reality within that, terrorism era was concentrated in that area. So, because prevailing over other creatures is an indication of not only victory, but also that you are superior. And because the non-blacks believe in military techniques to accomplish that goal, a physical military techniques. But then again, the mere fact of the military techniques themselves requires intelligence. The intelligence is transmitted or translated into the sophistication of the military weapon, as well as its destructive power. But the black people have known that in spite of that reality, black people knew one thing, that if you become too destructive, you defeat your purpose. Okay? See, if you take a gun and you say, look, I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to shoot you, you better say I'm superior and do what I tell you. There are at least two choices. One has, the person you're talking to has, in the minimum, two choices, which is, you could say, okay, I surrender. And that happens every day in our lives, where you see a police can put your hands up. Okay? The person who is being asked to put hands up has more than one choice. He may decide to not put their hands up. And so therefore, you might be forced to shoot him. And even when you shoot him, you might still ask him to, but he may still refuse. So if you carry that along, you might be forced to kill the person. But after you've killed the person, you've lost your victory. You can't tell a dead person to carry out your orders anymore. So what have you accomplished? Nothing.